Hey, good morning, everybody. How's your Friday treating you so far? Sorry about that. My Friday morning is pretty bad. There's all sort of things going on at the same time. It's never turning to be particularly to my advantage. So hopefully your Friday is better. And let's start the show, shall we? So I've got a few prices to update still. Just let me check real quick. Looks like everything's a little slower too. Yeah, not my best day. It's not gonna be my best day for sure. But still, got a newsletter to put out later today and a video, so I've got to collect my data first. And we'll see what is going on this weekend for in terms of technology deals. All right, in stores. Got a few more things to arrange around here, so don't mind me too much. Yeah, this 15-inch HP laptop is quite popular right now. Let's see what it's capable of. So, capable of a few things around there. Pretty much run-of-the-mill laptop for Word and going online and that sort of stuff. Nothing too outrageous. You can try UN at some creative programs, but it won't be, let's say, ideal for that sort of task. And it was 500 at Best Buy last week. It's now up to 600, 700 actually. So yeah, we definitely went up in price there. Start a few things around here, don't mind me. Okay. Even the open box version. Yeah, it's not in stock yet. There is a brand new version, however, but it doesn't seem to be available at the moment. So let's fix that. Let's try to be thorough. the link is dead. Alright, I'll just pass it by for now. And get back to that some other day. When Best Buy website wants to cooperate a little better. Yeah, things were so rough this morning, didn't even have the time to take my coffee yet. So 800 for this one. And let's see. No coupons over at HP this weekend. So things are not going to be very, well, not out of the ordinary over there. And, alright. Available at Staples at the same price, so no change for this one. And the Amazon Fire HD. Got that one myself. Pretty good tablet, especially for the price. Battery life on it is very good for me, and even though it doesn't have access to the official Google store, it only uses Amazon's own Android store. There's still quite a lot. Most of my basic needs are covered fairly well. The only place where support is not 100% is YouTube. So, but yeah, for Twitch, Netflix, all those things, it works very well. It's just any app that falls under the Google umbrella, it doesn't have the official apps for those, so you end up with uh, I'd say apps which are not 100%. Let's see, a few links to check on this one. Just a random check I got earlier today. Still unavailable from Amazon, and pretty sure that was the only place that laptop was available from. It's sort of an end of life situation. And out of stock at Newegg as well. And I did change the way though the slides behind me are ordered. Now instead of jumping to whichever link is in need of attention the most, I now stick to every link to that device until I'm done, so I won't be jumping around as much as I used to. Should be a little bit more interesting to watch, because definitely after a while everything starts looking the same, you know? And when sometimes you revisit the same devices, it's especially true. So yeah, I've got a pretty big morning ahead of me. Got over 500 links to check. And yeah, that's far from ideal. But I'll check as many as I can before lunch, where I have to send my newsletter. Oh, hi, Sherlock. You're under my desk. Alright. Online only at the source again for the iPad. I'm not sure I believe that one. Sounds a little strange that the source wouldn't carry the iPad in stores, but they do have it online. Sounds like the sort of things they would probably sell quite a bit. Alright. And that laptop is unavailable at Microsoft from now on. We'll see if it comes back. Sometimes it happens. Out of stock at Staples, so that option is gone now for the Surface Studio. Alright, but we have a price drop on this home and gaming PC over at Best Buy. So it's now down to 1400 online and in stores. Alright, and that open box went up in price. Last week we had a lot of refurbished options, which were pretty good for to get a computer at a lower, slightly lower price. We'll see if we have a lot of refurbished options this week. So this computer still hasn't made its way in stores back yet. Remember, they had it in stores and online a few weeks ago, and yeah, looks like their stock just flew off the shelves. They restocked, but didn't make its way in stores yet. Alright, so this one is back in stock, but online only. over at Best Buy. And it's out of stock at HP, so things changed quite a bit on this 14-inch convertible laptop. And price went up on this Omen Gaming PC. Mostly as expected, really. It's one of those Best Buy exclusive that comes in and out of sale pretty much on a weekly basis. And yeah, price went up well, quite a bit over at Best Buy online. But let's see, let's check the other places where this laptop's on sale and see what's available. So this Newegg link now points to an out of stock listing. So one less in there. But this link is still valid. Went up in price a slightly bit at 1300 over at Newegg. And no change at Canada Computers. That refurbished computer. Sorry, my voice really not great this morning. But yeah, it's still available refurbished at Newegg for $270. We have a $50 price drop on this laptop at Best Buy. It's available both online and in stores. Same thing for the certified open box alternative. So that one is available for $900 at this point. And as most open box deal from Best Buy, it's available online only. Price went up at Best Buy on this one. It's now $1,650. Available online and in stores. So no change at Best Buy on Surface Pro i5. Alright, well this saves. Not sure why, but everything's slower this morning. But I'll go refill my coffee and looks like I'll be leaving the dogs out as well. Yes, I know. And I'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. Okay, so price went up on this tablet over at Best Buy. It's now $1,650, and yeah, no changes to. Uh, and it's available online only. Slight price change at B&H, but that's mostly due to the dollar changing value pretty much every day. B&H being a US based retailer. And price went up also on this laptop over at Best Buy. But this it came back in stock online, so now you can buy it online or in store, whichever you prefer. That is a good thing. No change for the open box version. No change on this one at Best Buy. And same thing in Newegg as well. Always good to have a few refurbished options, especially if you're really tight on cash. Even though those are definitely on the older side of the spectrum, they're quite capable. And that's something I find much easier to recommend for a desktop computer, where a laptop, when you get them refurbished, usually the battery life by that point can be pretty terrible. So it has to be a very recent model, otherwise, well, it's worthless because of the battery. But with a desktop, you don't have an aging battery ruining your experience. so they actually last a lot longer. And a lot of companies just get rid of their computer after 5 years, no matter how well they still run or not. So sometimes there's pretty tempting deals on desktop computers in the refurbished department. And this one prices went up on the certified open box at Best Buy, but it's also out of stock, so no big deal. Just have to still keep track of that price even though it's out of stock, just because I now do display the out of stock links in there. It's back to $100 on the Logitech HD Pro webcam at Best Buy. So it's falling back in line with Canada Computer here. And Newegg went up a tiny bit, so it's now $110. iPod Touch 6th generation. Those are still worth considering for media consumption, really. It's a small screen and all that, and if you have already a smartphone on it, it's probably going to be better than this. However, for a kid, you don't want to pay for a phone for, or even lend your work phone to. That's a pretty good option there. It's got access to a lot of apps, and really the processor in it is still pretty strong. So definitely worth considering still despite its age. It is slowly running out of stock, however. So keep that in mind. It's definitely on the way out now. And relatively the same thing with the iPhone SE. iPhone SE is one of those last small smartphones that fit easily in your hand, even for smaller people. Smartphones nowadays are more and more playing the role of portable media players, so we get larger screens and larger speakers and all of that. If you're not into that sort of things, the iPhone SE is still a pretty attractive options, but yeah, it's running out of favor pretty quick. Price went up at Best Buy on this certified open box on an iPhone 7. Of course, they also advertise it's available brand new for $0, but yeah, that's with a contract on a service that is definitely going to cost you more than $750. But the price on the iPhone 7 came down over at TELUS. It's now 755 instead of the 800 it used to be, if I remember right. So interesting price drop. It's not a very old device either. Definitely worth considering still. iPhones usually have pretty attractive camera on them. Of course, depends what your preference is on the kind of photo treatment that goes on it after the sensor is done taking the image. Um, well, a lot of people really enjoy the way Apple treats the picture taken by their smartphone's camera. And usually, yeah, those devices are very well rounded instead of being, shining in a few places but having a few weak spots. The nice thing with most of Apple's smartphones is that they don't really let you down in any area. While if you go for other manufacturers, they might exceed what the iPhone is capable to do in several, if not most, area, but they're probably not going to be as good as the iPhone is in one area or two. So it depends what sticks in your mind the most. Are you looking for what the phone is best at, or will your mind get stuck at the little problems you had with it? Galaxy Tab A, yeah, no change there. Technically, slightly, yeah, it's cheaper than usual over at Best Buy, from what I'm seeing right now. It's one of the in the low price phases. and price went up over at Canada Computers. So let's update that really quick. And I still haven't got enough coffee in me for my sentence to make full sense yet. So sorry about that if I'm a little... If my sentences are a little disjointed this morning. It's been a tough one, I must admit. And we've got a price drop on this gaming laptop. It's now just over $1,000 over at Best Buy. Yeah, looks pretty much up to par for what a $1,000 gaming laptop can be. But as you see, it can play quite a few games, not necessarily at the recommended levels yet. But it runs quite a few of them, even Planet Coaster, which is... Planet Coaster sounds like it should be a game which is easy to run, but actually it takes quite a beast to run it. And at least this one's going to run it. Maybe not at the best and most impressive settings out there, but it will run. And sometimes with the budget we have for gaming, sometimes it's the best we can hope for, really. And still out of stocks when bought straight from Dell. No change at Newegg. Price went up here at eBay, but it's still out of stock. It has been for the last 29 days, so I'm not sure if I'm going to really keep an eye on it. Probably not for very much longer. Probably going to drop that soon. Sometimes it's worth buying stuff on eBay with good warranties and good returns. It's not always the case, though. I try, or at least for my audience, whenever I list something from eBay, I want it to be at least as as much of a safe thing to buy as it would be in store. So I look for 30-day free returns on as much things as possible. I might do an exception for a device under, let's say, 300, something like that. So things are still stable on this tablet. No changes so far. And price went up on this set of ergonomic keyboard and mouse. And I find this kind of wireless design to be quite a good idea, actually. I'm usually not a fan of carrying after batteries. However, in case of this input combo, the fact that you can move the numpad away when when you're not using it actually helps you make a more ergonomic workstation for yourself. It kind of narrows your arm position to something that's more natural. And the fact that it's wireless means that you can do that easily without having to worry about wires around the place. So actually, that one I find kind of interesting. There's many situation where I find that making a keyboard and mouse wireless is counterproductive, because especially in the case of a keyboard, most of the time you're going to use that keyboard at the same place all the time. So a wire is really no hindrance for you. But um, yeah, in that case, actually makes sense to me. and out of stock on the key one at Staples. And that mouse is out of stock at Staples as well. And price went up on that computer over at Best Buy. And being an open box, it's only available online, as Best Buy usually does. Hey. And now out of stock over at HP. So we are losing that option. Interesting. That device actually got visitors yesterday. So it's the refurbished option available at Newegg is unchanged. So yeah, for people shopping for refurbished computers, always interested seeing that kind of traffic coming to my site. And price came down a little bit on this Acer convertible. Actually, is that one convertible? No, not that one. That Chromebook. Yeah, and the open box versions now just under $300, which is it's kind of the price point where Chrome OS is the most attractive. And yeah, usually I have no qualms with refurbished device on iOS simply because they're so easy to maintain. Well, they maintain themselves, really. And wiping the content of the device between users is so easy that yeah, I'm pretty confident that even refurbished, you're not going to inherit any issues from the past owner. So it's one of the things I like that platform for. That and the fact that manufacturers cannot bundle unneeded software on them. Because yeah, it's the common issue, especially with low-cost devices. You buy a brand new computer, and not even 3 months later, the thing is incredibly sluggish and all that. And it's often because of all the bundled software in there. It's as if they were selling you a brand new computer with, it's a little bit of a strong word, but with malware pre-installed. And in some case, that word is totally warranted. There's definitely been several cases of computer getting bundled with malware in them. But most of the time it's just stuff you're never going to use. And yeah, your computer just runs those programs you try to ignore all the time. And as upgrades starts coming in and those programs becoming more and more complex on stuff you don't even want on your computer, it just becomes slower and slower. Same thing with antivirus trials. After 3 months they run out, and then for everything gets sluggish, your security is off, and every piece of malware and virus can install itself on your computer until you uninstall them. They nearly create a flaw in your computer security until you get rid of them if you don't pay. And that's not great. I'm not a fan of that. Alright, and the price on this one dropped to just under $400 for the open box at Best Buy. That's pretty interesting, actually. With a large hard drive like that's good for your media collection, so games, pictures, um, music, video, whatever. Um, and it's fairly capable. So it's not a great computer, but you have a lot of options open to you for only $400. So definitely worth keeping an eye on that one. price went up there at Best Buy. Yeah, I remember quite liking that mouse back in the day. So pretty attractive keyboard and mouse combo overall. Never had that keyboard because, well, as I said, wireless keyboards most of the time, I don't think they're a good idea. But I remember having a version of that mouse at some point. And yeah, that's a very comfortable mouse body. The only downside, it's not ambidextrous. So if you're a lefty or something like that, then it's sadly your options are very limited nowadays. And there's a very attractive refurbished option on this set at Newegg. It's manufacturer refurbished, so it's fairly, how would I say, it's pretty reasonable to expect them to have opened the case and gotten rid of whatever residue the past owner might have left you. So, because yeah, sometimes there can be concern using keyboard and mouse somebody else used behind before you. It's the age-old saying, you don't know where it's been. But yeah, being manufacturer refurbished, you can. It's a little easier to ignore that little warning, that little red flags that might come up in your head. Right, getting to the 25% point. It's 930 over here. So, yeah, pretty unrealistic for me to expect to cover everything today, sadly. It just gets harder and harder to keep that data up to date every day. So making a full update right now is pretty unrealistic. And I hope I'll be able to solve that eventually, but yeah. A lot of different parties are not making my life easy in terms of collecting and keeping data updated these days. So I've got to do more manual work, which I don't really mind. Just means I have to reshuffle where I spend my time, really. Because yeah, these days, instead of programming new stuff, I mostly have to do data entry. So yeah, add new models from popular manufacturers, try to direct a little bit of traffic on my site. But for every one of those devices I add on my site, I make every one of my morning longer and longer and longer, as I have to maintain every one of those links afterwards. It's partially why I started streaming. That way I have some kind of a window to answer questions as needed. Slight price drop on the Proteus mouse. Also came down in price at Memory Express lately. But apparently there's better prices elsewhere. Sadly enough. Because yeah, that's one of the mouse I switch to and from these days. I really like the scroll wheel on this one. It's very easy to switch it from a free scrolling to scrolling with notches, which is usually the standard. So yeah, even when you're not in games, when you're instead scrolling through long documents, trying to get to the end quickly, you can do it pretty easily with this one. So yeah, very versatile. Definitely worth the investment for anyone spending a long amount of time with the computer, not only gamers. and I'm observing lots of price drops on it today. Got the feeling that it's probably going to be among my list of recommended accessories for the newsletter this weekend. So no change there. And price went up on this 17-inch laptop at Best Buy, and it's still available online only. So that one you can just go in store and pick it up. It's not usually available on location. And that MacBook is out of stock at Best Buy right now. And we have a price drop on this Omen Gaming PC, so $2,600 right now. Still a little bit expensive, but yeah, it's got the pretty much the best hardware you can hope for in it, with the 1080 Ti in there and 32 gigs of RAM. Yeah, that thing is a beast. And you probably couldn't assemble a device with those specs for a lot less than this, not with a $400 rebate on it. I very rarely recommend anything in that price range because you start seeing a lower return of investment there. But it's expensive, but it's not wasteful. You could consider this as an investment, especially if you're a very serious gamer, or that kind of hardware will also help you with video editing and all that sort of stuff. So if you're into streaming games or let's playing, that sort of stuff, it could be definitely worth looking into. Mm-mm-mm. Uh, going back to $70 on this mouse at Best Buy. Pretty sure that's the same mouse from that wireless set I was describing earlier. And I definitely had a good experience on that mouse design before. So let's see. Yeah, it's still pretty cheap at Amazon, so you might grab it from there. And with one of the biggest reason people like, and especially gamers like switching to a wireless mouse, is you don't have any tugging from the cable. That way you have free movement. There's a little, there's quite a few things you can do with cable management to resolve that, but the marathon as I think supposed to, yeah, it's supposed to last 3 years on, I think it's AA batteries. So yeah, that you won't have to manage battery too much on this. I would personally worry a little bit about batteries leaking over a 3 year period. I don't know, maybe it's just me. It's one of those weird things. Sometimes you find batteries which last just fine for years, and others will leak after barely a year. Mm-mm-mm. And that one's now unavailable at Staples. Yeah, need to catch up with Apple a little bit. They're renewing their hardware stock these days, and yeah, I'm falling a little bit behind on that data. Partially because there's not a lot of demand for that content right now, but still, I like to keep tabs on them. Used to be really big into Apple products for a while, but yeah, for the last 10 year or so, it's we've had some kind of Apple and me have had some kind of a falling off, really. I kind of value my freedom of movement, and in that I mean I like switching from Mac to Windows to Linux and, touch a little bit of everything. And Apple is trying to make that fairly difficult these days. So that rubs me the wrong way for sure. And not a big fan of their later hardware design. The kind of true maintenance and upgradability out of the window. And sure, Macs were not great for that from the beginning, pretty much. But considering how much repair I've had to do on all the stuff I use daily, I kind of like to. I've my options open to me. I know that hardware will fail at some point, and I will probably have to upgrade the RAM of a computer during its lifetime. So, if you deny me those options by soldering stuff to the motherboard or filling your devices with glue, yeah, I'm probably not going to use your stuff so much. Let's see, no changes there. And that one's no longer available from Best Buy, or at least not currently. It's in stores only at Staples. Slight price drop over at Canada Computers on this monitor. Not a bad option if you just need an extra monitor, or if you want to try to make a more permanent spot for your laptop on the desk somewhere for those times where you have to work for longer periods of time. Alright, I'll go for a quick bio break and I'll be right back. Alright, and I'm back. Still going through that list. Just reached 35% of the work I need to do. Ideally, before I publish the newsletter today. So yeah, looks like I've cleared from most of the stuff that I've picked previously. I still have 40 something links to clear out um, from Best Buy, because on Friday I try to at least take a look at every link from Best Buy and Visions Electronics, because most of their sales take effect on Friday. So try to be extra careful about those two, and because I need to do both of those retailers' links manually, they're a big part of my Friday morning workflow. And I see Fortnite is as popular as ever. I'm seeing a lot. Most of the traffic I'm getting on the site this morning has to do with Fortnite. A few people were looking at Ark, for instance, and a few games like that too. But Fortnite definitely comes back on a regular basis. Good thing that Fortnite is pretty easy to run on modern machine too. Doesn't really require anything too complicated to run. That's definitely one of the things that Epic did better than PUBG, for instance. The looks are very different. And some people will prefer realism to the cartoony stuff that Fortnite is doing. But the good thing about that cartoony look is that, yeah, it will run on more machines. And that's definitely something you want to capitalize on with free-to-play games. With free-to-play games, you will tend to attract more people which are, well, they're not necessarily long-time players or very dedicated players either. So if you can accommodate people which are playing on very humble machines, definitely help foster a new clientele there. Yeah, that's part of why World of Warcraft was and still is to a degree that popular compared to its competitor. And yeah, same thing with Counter-Strike Go and now Fortnite. So having low system requirements is definitely not a guarantee that you're going to have a big player base. But if you start, how would I say, attracting enough attention, low system requirements will help grow that number quite a bit. And I've got a price drop on the open box version of this laptop. So $1,400 for, yeah, looks like a pretty decent system. A 1050 Ti in there. And let's see, we've got a solid state drive, a 16 gigs of RAM. Yeah, that's kind of the kind of specs I like to see in a gaming system, even for beginners. The only sad thing with a laptop like this is that, yeah, 1050 Ti is perfect to get started nowadays, but when you're in a laptop, you have basically no upgrade options for your GPU, so it's going to age relatively quickly for games, I think. Makes it a little bit easier to recommend for, let's say, creative tasks and stuff like that. Okay, definitely got a typo in there. That device is not 45 grand, no. Not sure how I did this actually, because that's probably a manual entry. Yeah, it's $450 for a refurbished all-in-one. Not a very strong one at that. But yeah, for small and public spaces, and I like to think of all-in-ones as good candidates for the kitchen counter and stuff like that. For that kind of purpose, it's a pretty valid option for under $500. It's definitely strong enough for, the web, social media, browsing recipes, Skyping, and all that sort of stuff. And since all-in-ones um, don't have electronics in their base usually, if you spill anything in the kitchen or stuff like that, well, it's not going to ruin your computer. While with a laptop, the electronics is mostly in the base, so then you have to worry about spills quite a bit more. It's funny to see the dog sticking to the shadows this morning. They're mostly black colored, so whenever they're in the direct sun, they overeat really quick. And I'm pretty sure they're more comfortable in winter-like conditions than what they are currently. Mm-mm-mm. So reaching 40%, got 31 links still to upgrade over at Best Buy and or Visions. And speaking of Best Buy, their price came up on this laptop. No change over at Staples. No change at Westworld either. Oh yeah, Surface Studio from Microsoft. Very, very good looking all in one, but so expensive. Only worth the investment if, let's say, you've got an artist studio which is also very public and you'd rather have something compact and sleek rather than, let's say, have a long lasting PC equipped with a Cintiq monitor to draw on. But yeah, you definitely pay a premium for that. What would I say? That design. And unlike most all-in-one, that one I would definitely not put in a kitchen. Not only is it pretty expensive for that kind of task, and in some case a little overpowered. The main problem with them in a kitchen setting is that most of the electronics in this one is in the base. So if you spill something, it can cost you a lot. And that one is out of stock at Best Buy now. But I must admit, despite the price being so high on the Microsoft Surface Studio, I'm still somehow attracted to them. That design is very reminiscent from, well, classical drawing tables. So for CAD and drawings, digital painting, that sort of thing, that design is very natural. But still, if I was going to pay that much money, I would buy myself a Cintiq and a tower computer. I kind of want the modularity and the ease of maintenance for something that costs that much, you know? And really, if you want all of that to be in a compact, self-contained device, there's a lot of competition on the laptop front right now for tablet. It's even the portable one, so you can carry it around and do your concept art on that instead. Some of them are fairly powerful too. Worst case scenario, your mobile drawing station is fine for your sketches and you know, laying down the groundwork, and then you can refine the coloring and all that on your desktop computer. Yeah, $3,200 for a MacBook laptop, that's way more than I would be willing to pay nowadays. Maybe that's just me, but usually my price cap is pretty much at 2 grand. Anyone that has been looking at my newsletter is probably familiar with that. I don't think I've been over 2 grand ever for any user type. Because for most people, it's not worth to go that high. I definitely haven't. I think the most I've spent on a desktop computer so far is probably 1600. I would really like to go to, let's say, 1800 or maybe even 2 grand on the next one, among other things, because, well, I spend the whole day in front of that. It's my work machine, and I use those computer for work. Even the GPU portion I use for work quite a bit. So for me, it might be justifiable eventually, but yeah, most of my clientele is there for a home computer, and yeah, even for gaming, I never spent more than 16,000 so far. 1600. 16,000 would be quite a beast. Or at least you would think so, right? And even nowadays, sure, you might want a GeForce 1080 in your computer and all of that. Still mostly feel like it's bragging right at this point. 1070 is definitely fine. For most of us, anyway. And yeah, just investing on top of that. Hard to justify. But I totally get some people wanting the bragging right, being able to say I've got the latest greatest GPU in my computer right now. And I guess you could say, well, I'm going to mine cryptocurrency with my GPU, so I'm going to invest and it's going to repay for itself eventually. The thing is, I don't think you can do that with a regular tower PC. You kind of need one of those crypto farms set up to really be able to pay for your GPU back. So mining on your gaming PC, it's not as viable an option as some might think. Yeah, I see Subnautica popping on my list of pages which are currently getting visitors. That's probably the only game in the last year that actually got me interested enough that I stopped watching YouTube and Twitch videos about, simply because, okay, I'm interested enough at this point, I want to try it myself. And it's not very expensive, I'm just so broke. I'm waiting for it to come down in price a little bit. Hmm. So no change there still. Ah, yeah, we're made for it. Didn't realize that was the date yet. So lots of Star Wars memes are going to be flying around today, that's for sure. One of the weird thing I've noticed since I've started using a trackball You would think you wouldn't get any accidental clicks with those, but I actually accidentally click on that all the time. And every time I'm wondering, how do I put it off? How is that even possible with a trackball, you know? With a trackpad, yeah, makes it's very easy to do. Those things don't always recognize the force you use to click anything. It's a little upsetting, really. But with a trackball, sometimes I don't even have the finger on the button and I still accidentally click. Must be me. Because, yeah, on the trackball, I'm essentially clicking with my thumb and pinky. Those are not usually the fingers I use for that kind of task. Interesting. Apparently, ah, nope, I read that wrong. Apparently, top selling smartphone is the iPhone X right now. Wouldn't be my pick, but still, it's definitely one of those very solid smartphone in there. At the same point, there must be some kind of production bias in there. Because I'm pretty sure people will. There's going to be plenty of smartphones selling, you know, those and those $0 promotional prices on contracts. And I think the iPhone 7 qualifies for that right now, which is in number 4. And I don't know, that's what most people I know go for. Alright, I've reached the 50% mark. Still have 15 devices from Best Buy and or Visions Electronics to cover. That's less than ideal, but not exactly a surprise considering how the day's been going so far. Process been pretty slow. And noticing quite a few price drops on tablets right now. It's always good, especially those Android tablets are not competitively priced right now. I mean, those are 4 years old design at this point, but they sell for more than the iPad, which has much stronger hardware at this point. So, yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. I'm more of an Android fan myself, but yeah, it's just receiving no love on the tablet front anyway. Alright, 10 more devices to go. After that, I'll have to run. I'm already a little late for putting the newsletter together. Alright, 6 to go. Okay, got some currency conversion to do on this one. Let's see. Wow. Still got 3 devices to go. Almost 11 o'clock. Wow, it's going to be pretty hectic to get the newsletter out in time. Fingers crossed. It's sort of a side effect of the new workflow I have, the new update order. By trying to not change devices as often, takes me a little longer to get to my minimal level of completion. Store only there. So yeah, before I would just take care of the links I was interested into, but now I can't move to the next device until I've updated every link that still needs updates for it. I don't know. Okay. I see I'm not progressing anymore on the numbers. There's probably something in the update order algorithm I'm using that prevents me from doing it properly. So since there's nobody live right now, so maybe you're watching this during the on the video on demand platforms instead of something like that, I'll just close things here and go and rush to complete my updates for this weekend. So there will be the tech word buying video going out this afternoon. So that will give you an overview of the market right now in 2 minute and a half format. So pretty easy to consume compared to this stream, which is really the goal for the me streaming is mostly to give people an opportunity to interact and ask questions. So yeah, anyone looking for advice before going shopping for the weekend or something like that, that's kind of the intention there. So I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.